Hello，大家好，这里是2023年汉诺威工业博览会，欢迎来到贝弗展台。我们将在这里为您展示贝弗全系列产品以及最新的创新理念。
That was my wonderful colleague Jegu from our Shanghai office. Thank you very much for being with us today.
You're
It's
welcome.
a huge honor. We are super happy that the world is coming back to Hannover again. So Beckhoff China is the biggest Beckhoff daughter company with more than 300 employees, and I think that's an important message. It's not only nice for them that Beckhoff China is in Hannover today, but it's also nice for you that we have our global sales network, because when you are developing a machine, for example in the United Kingdom or in Mexico, and you want to ship it to China, then you can be sure that there is a big Beckhoff team with very, very competent people which can help and support in case this is needed. Today is the last day of the trade show, at least virtually, so you can come here tomorrow and today, of course, to speak with us in person. But Live and Interactive is now the last episode for this week. We will be back in Nuremberg, but for today we have a lot of technology still prepared for you. Let's start with this, and in case you have any questions in the meantime, please do not hesitate to contact us via meet@beckhoff.com to set up your own appointment with one of the experts, or just type something into the chat. And chatting is also the topic, because I would like to chat with you, Friedrich, for a little bit.
Yes.
So the MX system is a brand new system, and it's really a system. So we are not only having hardware, it's also software in there. Maybe let's go back to the topic of the exhibition. Let's talk a little bit about digitalization. So what's the kind of digitization which we can do with the MX system?
Well, a lot of digitization. So what we emphasize is that if you go for an MX system, the grade of digitization is higher in your MX system than in a classical control cabinet. For instance, the power supply that would be here, it is a Ethercat power supply. You have all the informations available. You know the voltage that is currently output by the module. You can fine-tune it just via the PLC. You got all the information ready in your PLC.
Even more information available than with a standard control cabinet. But now let's maybe look into one step further. So normally if you want to know something about a wire which is in there, you need to have a voltmeter or an ampere meter, and then you need to check it. And now we said we want to turn the smartphone into a pocket voltmeter or a pocket ampere meter.
Exactly.
And this is something which we've done. We've developed an app, and maybe you can talk a little bit about this and the possibility of extending this even beyond the MX system.
Yeah, that is basically no problem, because the technique or the hardware behind the connection between your mobile device and the MX system is just another Ethercat device. Yeah. So from there to an EPP box or a normal terminal clamp to connect all the other cabinets with your mobile phone is just a small step.
Okay, so we now have a very powerful diagnostics front end, but maybe we can take it even one step further. When we think about X-planar machines and we set them up, then there's always some point where we would like to know something from our customers. We need to discuss with them about a very specific situation, and that's where we use the scope functionalities which we have in TwinCat,
Yes.
to scope a position, to scope a velocity. How can we do this with the MX system?
Well, talking about your scope, it's just the same. You can use TwinCat, so you got all the things you know.
Yeah.
But there's more here with the mobile app. So if you're interested in the evolvement of any of the signals, you could select it on the mobile device, and let's go for the velocity of the motor. So you can tell the app to scope the velocity of the motor, and it's doing some measurements. And once the measurement is done, you will see the velocity of that motor on your mobile device.
I think that's a very, very powerful thing to know, because if you usually would like to know this about the motor, you would have to open TwinCat and then you would maybe look at the correct variables. But now you just basically need to scan the interface, and then you can already see it.
Then it's done. No more. Usually you need access to the PLC and have the HMI ready. This is just mobile device. Go to the machine, scan it, and you got the information ready.
Very cool news for the technicians in the world. And Yeah, it's not only a pocket voltmeter, it's also a pocket oscilloscope, I would
Exactly.
say. Perfect. Thank you very much, Felix. That's
No worries,
very,
you're
very
welcome.
cool news. I'm very excited how simple it's becoming with the MX system. But I'm also very excited how the company is developing. And Roland and Frederike are now standing together to discuss a little bit about that matter.
Well, and absolutely right. This was really excited that on Tuesday, Frederike, Hans, and Johannes Beckhoff were able to report the figures of 2022. To make it simple, 1.5 billion euros in sales, over 5,600 employees in charge of this success story, 28% growth. These are just significant information. And I'm sure it was exciting to present these numbers, but I believe, Frederike, it was even more excited when you met our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Habeck, on Tuesday morning and report the numbers to him. So now, how is this to meet live in person the Vice Chancellor?
To be really honest, Roland,
Yes, please.
I was like super nervous. My legs were like shaking the entire time, and I was just like the 15 minutes before, I was just like strolling through the booth here or around the booth, and I was just like trying to calm my nerves. It was an honor. We had, I think, a really great time with them, but yes, it's not what we do on a normal base. So I was quite nervous.
Yeah, I think our international customers had no chance to follow that because it was a German stream. But I noticed that it was a real discussion. I mean, you really talked to him about topics about sustainability, efficiency. So he had a real interest.
I really do think so. So it was not like a regular presentation. We are presenting something and the politicians like nodding their head and saying, okay, understood. No, he really paid a lot of interest in, because I think he realized that it has to be like a global effort by politicians, by engineers, by basically all of us to save the world. This is one of his mission, and I think he really understood also what Beckhoff, respectively the industry, which kind of important role we can play in this. Yeah.
Now, he understands that our growing business probably is also a sign for that, but what is the value of our customers that Beckhoff is growing permanently?
Well, I think first of all, it really shows that we are really capable to scale our production sites and everything we need to grow to serve our customers quite well. And you all of know, by the way, good morning. So I missed that at the beginning.
Yes,
I'm just
you did.
realizing it. So good morning, everyone. I think we are able to show them that we are able to scale our production and all the resources back in the HQ, but also in our local sales channels to continue to serving our customers quite well. And the efforts we undertook during the last 2 years, growing each year of 28%, I think, and I really hope that this proves that we are able to grow according to your needs. And of course, we are also aware that we could have grown a bit faster and a bit bigger to serve all the needs which were required, but I think still we did quite good, and now I think we see finally a light at the end of the tunnel. So during this year, the delivery time, etc., will be better, and we are working for this, and I think this is a good sign that we can grow to such an extent.
Yeah. Now the growth took place, of course, in Germany, in production side, inventory and so on, but the growth also took place in the world.
Yeah.
I think that's also a clear indication that Beckhoff is a global company. So are there specific growth factors in the different states, or are we just growing everywhere in the world?
So that is true. We're growing everywhere, so there might be a few more percentage in one country or another country, but in general, as we said, 28% last year, and we can see this growth all over the world. So it's not like related to a specific country or a specific part in the world. And this is what it's like really true, for our internal company. We are growing internationally.
Yeah.
So 70% of our global sales is generated outside of Germany, direct or indirect, with 40 subsidiaries we have in the world, representatives in 75, even more countries. And next to Germany, of course, the Asian focus, especially in China, but also the Americas, in the US, the Canada and other countries as well. So yes, we're quite international, and it's really important that the world realizes we need peace, we need freedom, and we need all the trade arguments, etc., to continue to grow this international and to serve our customers in a global base. Because in the end, it's a global community. We are not different.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Now let's try to move over to a technology question, okay?
Yeah.
Now, when we present our technology to the world, we always talk about our Archer, brand new robot, MX system, perfect automation system,
Vision portfolio.
everything is brand new. But I noticed that, especially last year, there were a lot of things done in the background. I think you should share a few information about this as well.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm afraid that I'm even bore our customer with it, because we're talking about so much during the last 2 years, but that's what we have to, right? It affects all of us, especially you outside there. So of course we did a lot of things, and especially we did also in our development departments, we did a lot of like redesigns, so thinking about other options, because due to the issues in the supply chain, are there any other products we can give our customers to serve them quite well? And finally, I'm really happy that I think it comes to an end, or almost to an end, as I already said. So we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's like really important. We are again focusing on innovations, bringing new products to the market, evolutionary developments, a revolution, what we say every 5 to 7 years. That's what we are working on, and finally focusing again on innovations, hopefully overcoming the supply chain issues within this year.
Perfect. Take it as a promise of the two of us and everybody from Beckhoff.
Yes.
We are overcoming this situation and continue working on innovations. Innovations is a good handover to Felix. And Felix, this is not a mistake, because Felix is asking Felix about new IPCs.
Hi, here's Felix, almost with the next Felix. One innovation which we did and we didn't introduce in Hannover was the C4000 IPC 37 years ago. The first IPC born from the idea that there needs to be some memory storage at a window profile cutting machine. This was the idea, this was the need. We need some storage at a standard machine controller, and from that idea we developed the concept of PC-based control, which is now, 37 years later, still a winning philosophy. And I would like to explore now what the PC-based control approach brings new for us this year. So Moore's law says we get more processing power, or double the processing power, every 18 months, I think, something
More or
like
less.
this.
More or less.
And is it right?
Yeah, it still is right. It was right, and it is right. Actually, when everybody talks about Industry 4.0, talking about the C4000, this is what Beckhoff already did since the very early beginnings of the company. And it came out that the prediction Gordon Moore made in the early 80s already, when we two weren't born already, to be honest, was extremely true already in the 80s, in the 90s, today, but also in the future. And the latest update of this extreme vast development of PC and processor technology is now the 10 nanometers technology node, which we implement in form of the 11th, 12th and 13th generation of Intel Core i processors in our industrial PCs. More performance in the same compact housings for the same money, so more efficient and faster automation in the future.
Okay, i7 11th generation memory management unit, field bus interface, multi-core architecture. Last year I tried to learn a little bit more about IPCs, and after 2 days I realized that there is a reason why we have so many people in the company which work on the topic. Some new terms have been introduced to the market, and the terms are speed shift and hybrid architecture.
True.
What's that, and why do I need to know this as an automation guy?
Yeah, first of all, I'm really glad that you already know these
Thank you for the
features
flowers.
of the new generations, because they are really important for the future. First of all, hybrid architecture means that we are now combining those high-performance Core i architecture and the Atom architecture within one single chip. So in the future, with TwinCAT 3, you can very easily perfectly adapt the entire application onto those different cores to be even more efficient on a multi-core system in the future. Adding the speed shift technology, the next word, you can add a single performance core which you really increase in performance. So you go into turbo mode, for example 4.2 gigahertz on a single core on a permanent frequency for real-time applications, so for customers doing really high single thread applications, for example.
All of the people who have to run a lot of NC access will be smiling right now.
For
But I
example.
think even beyond that, it's a cool message, because if I think about our IPC portfolio or embedded PC portfolio, it's always about continuity, so that you buy the right controller for your application. And now you actually get different performance levels in one controller, so you can really find the task for a certain IPC core which suit this core the best. I think that's perfect, because you don't get much overhead.
Exactly.
Talking about the small end, always also very important. Now we talked about the high end maybe. What's changing maybe on the smaller end of the performance spectrum.
Yeah, of course, it's always most fun to talk about high-end automation, lowest cycle times, 120 axis, but we know also, of course, there are customers, there are markets for more compact, more efficient machines, also price-sensitive applications, and therefore we also, of course, update the smaller controllers. And that trade show actually, we implement a new generation of Intel Atom processors, so for the very compact, efficient and fanless devices. So as customer know from Beckhoff, we always wanted to here update the entire portfolio, so more performance for the same price or less price for the same performance.
Perfect. Okay, it goes on. The story continues. PC-based control still the winning formula.
Correct.
Merci beaucoup, Felix. I have to head over now to the TwinCAT forum. And I would like to talk about a small challenge which we have. When we set the agenda for Beckhoff Live and Interactive, we have 20 slots over the course of the 4 days which we are doing. And it's a no-brainer that we have our vision products in there because it's a new technology. It's also clear that we talk about Atro, that we talk about the MX system, about Explainer. But there are so many things which we have done in the past as a company which can't find a spot in the agenda. Take, for example, or for instance, our control panels. Our control panels are made from one solid aluminum block, something which is now also done for phones. It's perfectly for customization. And we have been the first ones to did it, so that's also great news. Not great news, but a strong tradition is that we always have the right software feature which helps you to utilize our hardware to the best possible extent. Pascal, I see an ELM module there. I know we have a lot of analog technology. So let's talk a little bit about what we can do for measurement.
Yes, that's right. In measurement, it is a real tradition to fit the hardware products with software products, right? So, for example, 12 years ago, we developed this EL3632 terminal where you can connect the acceleration sensors with API interface, for example. And then in the next step, we developed a TwinCAT condition monitoring library for it, right? And in the next step, we had EL3773 for power monitoring, for example. And we developed TwinCAT power monitoring library. And now we do something for our ELM35 series and our EL3356 terminals for the connection of load cells, because a load cell and a terminal makes no scale, and therefore we spent a piece of software, right? And this is a new TwinCAT weighing library.
Okay, that's very good that we are so enthusiastic about making the hardware even more usable for our customers by developing these libraries. But maybe let's talk a little bit about weighing. I guess that's not for the scale which is standing in my bathroom, right?
Yeah, no, not really, no. It is, of course, also static weighing is possible with our library. It would be possible, but it's not our main focus. So the main focus is more the dynamic weighing. So where you have a conveyor belt, for example, and a production item passes through, right? And during this process, we make the weighing based on the load cells and so on. So this dynamic process, very often in packaging machine, but also in other filling processes where you have to measure the weight during the production time, right?
Okay, so that's, I think, the advanced weighing, I would say.
Yes.
When we talk about functionality, there's always different abstraction layers. So there's the absolute expert modes, the ones who really want to set the bits and bytes, every filter correctly. And then on top of that, we maybe have something which offers a little bit more of preset configurations. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the special features in the weighing library.
Yeah, in the weighing library, you're fully right. So the special feature or the core functionality is at first the signal filtering, right?
Okay.
This is very important because you believe if the conveyor belt and we have fluctuations, we have vibrations and all this stuff, then it's not that easy to find the best point to weight your production item, right? And therefore, this is the most important point, the filtering. You can see that here. So we get a very noisy signal from the terminal, and then we make the filtering and get the blue line, for example, right? And then we have a flat area, and in this flat area, we can really make the measurements, right? And then we can, because you have to be, especially if it is a dynamic weighing, you need to be quick by the filtering, very quick, and precise, right? That you have a precise measurement. And so this is very important. And a little bit what you said is these expert and maybe non-expert modes we often spend for our products. That is also a point. We have a function block. I would say it is a 70% solution, right? Where we make everything for you. So we make the complete filtering, all this stuff, right? And so this will be good and easy solution. And then we have a little bit more complex solution where you have different steps what you can do with the library, where we allowed you to spend your really specific filtering, right? Because you have a so special use case that we give you this possibility, right?
So it's basically a pyramid. So I have preset functionalities for people who are new or who just want a solution. We have expert functionalities for people who really want to dig in deeply. And then we have our own experts which actually can help with designing, for example, the filter which flattens this curve. So this is also something which we can do. Experts are always required because automation technology is very human. You already talked about many different product codes for analog terminals, and one who has been with these product codes for their entire development, or more or less their entire development, is standing now with Roland. This is Michael, so let's look what they have to say.
Well, first of all, after all these sweets we have on our trade show booth, I'm really happy that there's no static weighing, because I think everybody gained a little bit of weight over the last couple of days. On the other hand, just yesterday we had in our chat window a question of a German customer talking about the demand for potential free outputs in our safety terminals. Quite a challenging demand, but I looked it up yesterday evening and I would like to share this also with you in the international stream. So there's the EK1960. This is our compact controller in our safety portfolio. And this is a wonderful controller with 20 safe inputs, 24 safe outputs, plus 4 potential free outputs. But I can already see you are thinking, well, this is nice, but I just need a small terminal only for the outputs. And here is the promised expert. So Michael, is there anything in the back door going on for potential free outputs in safety terminals?
Yes, I talked to our safety product manager colleagues and they said, yes, they will make a potential free relay terminal.
Okay.
They couldn't give me the name yet, but it will be called EL29 something. So something is in the pipeline there.
Okay, so stay tuned, watch our webpage. You will get the update coming up along the year, so there's something exciting going on as well. Now, let's breathe a little bit and recall once again what we've done in the last 25 or even more years. Because today, Michael, we always talk about the latest, greatest, newest. Now, what do we do with the old stuff? See, the terminal is 20 years old. No, how many years our terminal old? 28 years. So is this still an available existing product, or what's the story behind our first terminals?
So you asked what we do with the old terminals. We try to supply them as long as possible. So that means from the 1995 introduced terminals, we are still shipping, I think, more than 95%.
Okay, and this looks like today's terminal, but it's not the latest greatest, isn't it?
This is actually one of the very first terminals. So it's 28 years old. It's a 2-channel digital input called KL1002. We're still shipping it in high volumes, a couple of 10,000 pieces, since 28 years.
So this is still an off-the-shelf item. It's not a service item.
It's not a service item. The reason for that is that our machine building customers don't like to change their bill of material. So if they have a construction of a machine and it's still ordered, they like to use the same products, and we try to support them that we still deliver also older products.
So that's basically a strategy, I have to say, so that we, of course, develop new things, but we maintain the existing ones for the customers.
Exactly, because otherwise we would cause all the time engineering effort to integrate new modules, maybe also older machines of our customers.
Yeah, but I'm sure you don't want to end with the old stuff. You would like to also look into the future. So what happened in these 28 years out of this existing KL1002?
Yeah, so there happen basically two things. The first one is that we increased the number of channels, so 2, 4, 8, 16, so all the time in the same form factor, so higher density and much better price per channel.
So you can take this out in the same size you have instead of 2, maybe 16 inputs?
Exactly, that's the one strategy,
Okay.
so that gives the customer more functionality for a better price. And the second is that we, of course, also integrated this technology for digital input into the EtherCAT system. And there we, of course, have other possibilities because of the speed of EtherCAT. So besides the normal digital inputs, we also have fast digital inputs, we have timestamp digital inputs, we have oversampling digital inputs, and therefore you can really utilize the power of a Beckhoff system with PCs, TwinCAT and EtherCAT.
Oh, perfect. Michael, I think that's a good finish of today. Thank you for this insight into our development scale and the future development. Thank you so much. I can mail it down maybe. We maintain the past, but we develop the future. And we develop this together with you. Like we spent the last 4 days with you together. And I think that's basically the end of our broadcasting. I think we really appreciate so much that you joined us. I think it was an exciting week for us, oh Felix?
For sure, and the week is not over. It's only Thursday morning. If you want to come to Hannover, you still have 15.5 hours left to explore everything on our Beckhoff booth. I think that's half the time which you require for a proper image presentation. So please come by and then we will do the rest in the next meeting on the next fair, maybe in Nuremberg.
Yeah. So I can promise you that we are back in Nuremberg with this broadcasting because all your feedback is so promising for us that it's really worthwhile spending time and effort. So thank you everybody around the globe. A big thank you to everybody behind the camera, which you even can't see, but which support, of course, the technology. And a big thank you to the Beckhoff team and all of you supporting us today. Thank you, take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, arrivederci.